here in Turning Stone, New York. But Norman going straight to work with the body shots against the southpaw. Lands a nice right hook on the inside, and he's got Coria pinned, and then he's punishing him. Coria ready to go down, but he just won't.
Land and throw in this first round. That one grazed right there. He came to the body. Good move when you have a fighter covering up his head. Then you go back to the head right there. Both of those shots landed. And you see Coria trying to get out of the way, but he's hurt. His body's not moving as fast as it typically would if he wasn't hurt. So it's hard to evade those shots when you're dazed like that. But he did it enough to be able to weather that first round. But I like the arsenal of Norman. He mixed things up. He didn't just throw one type of punch, and he didn't just go to the head. Like I said before, he went to the body, then went back to the head, which allowed him to land clean shots. Norman landed some heavy shots. Anything you can throw as a fighter, he's throwing it. Uppers, overhand rights, left hooks, body shots. And Coria's taking it.
Yeah, he's not just throwing them, Dre. He's landing them.
And they're landing heavy.
You okay?
I don't think he's okay, Dre. His legs are kind of shaky.
Good body shot right there from Norman.
Great, don't punch.
Norman's got to stay downstairs and then come back up top and try to catch Coria slipping. Probably the last couple weeks on how he wanted to come at Coria, but I like that he jumped on Coria because Coria's a good fighter. He's solid, and you don't want to let a guy like that get into a rhythm.
Reacting to what your opponent does.
Got to use your IQ.
Set up your shots, yes. There's that first jab of the fight. Shout out to Louis out of the RGBA Academy. And there you see Norman landing a nice uppercut, and now Coria letting his hands go.
And what I mean by that is he needs to be caught up in boxing, piling up points, and establishing his game plan. And if he lands something that hurts Coria or gets him out of there, then so be it. But if Coria is nothing else, he's tough.
Nice left from Coria. Now digging to the body of Norman, but Norman comes back with a body shot of his own. Taking those steps forward.
Coria's game, he just doesn't have the physical attributes to hang punch for punch.
Nice right hand from Norman. And I think that's another thing that Coria was able to handle, was staying in the moment when the referee, he saw the referee coming in, he threw a shot. Like, he did all the right things to not allow Mark Nelson to do his job. A gauntlet that Johnny Rice has gone through, and now he adds Vianello to that list.
Yes, he does. On short notice, I might add.
Absolutely. That happened when Shaw moved up to be the main event fighter against a jogger. See Norman now starting to shoot his shot. Nice overhand right, and then
right
left.
Coria.
But then there's that answer, Dre.
Yes.
There's also that pressure of wanting to impress. This is his top-ranked debut. He just signed in the month of December. He saw Shushu Carrington earlier. He understands what's at stake for him.
But that's what comes with it, and that's what you say you wanted, so now you got to step up.
And now he is stepping up. He's walking down Coria. But I'm seeing arm punches, Dre. You mentioned the fatigue factor.
Fatigue is set in. He's a muscular guy up top. He's got big calves. He's got big legs. He's a muscular fighter. Then you start to get hit. You can start to ask yourself certain questions. Norman needs to quickly get that out of his mind and get to work.
Nice counter right from Norman.
Stop.
And here is Rodrigo Coria giving Brian Norman Jr. all he could handle in round 7. Now the tide is turned in favor of Coria. Let's see what kind of answer Norman has as he lands a nice left hook.
It's hard to take these last couple rounds away from Coria because he's landed more. You look for the response from Norman, and it's not always there.
Probably 3 clear rounds for each, 1 swing round, and this last round, which we'll have to see who comes out on top, as Norman was opening up, and now down goes Coria. 3rd time being knocked down as a professional. And can he finish how he started, as Brian Norman Jr. has an opportunity against a hurt Rodrigo Coria?
that hasn't been perfect, even though he's done some good things. But for him to stop a guy like Coria would say a lot for the power and the durability.
Never been past round 7 has Brian Norman Jr. until tonight, and he's showing that his power carries as he once again sends Coria to the ropes.
Yes, it does.
Big credit to Rodrigo Coria for making it to the 8th and final round.
Good fight.
Dre, both guys had their moments, and this is a great fight for the development of Brian Norman Jr. against a southpaw who could take a shot and who can deliver 1-2.
Jesus Perez, 24-4, 18 knockouts. He's fought a lot of undefeated guys. He is all his fight a loss against Alexis Rochad, not an easy task, but he put up a good fight in that one.
Yeah, Perez is a vet, doesn't mind coming into different guys' home.
Good, you see a very calculated attack at this point from Norman Jr., who slips away from a looping shot there from Perez.
It's not a dance, it's a walk.
And there uses a shot instead of a hold to kind of get out of the corner there.
Dangerous move, but he got away with it.
Nice combination up top, and then gets caught up with a few shots, but some that landed behind the head there from Perez.
With conversation, that type of energy that his father is infusing in him is going to cause him to go right back there and start fighting when he's supposed to be boxing. I do like the part of the conversation where his father said, "You seem to be giving him too much respect." I like that. He needs to remember that he's the boss, and I'm talking about Norman. He's the A-side, he's the guy that's supposed to dominate this fight and obviously win.
And I do feel like he came into that last fight, and what he even said too, that a lot of pressure. His top-ranked debut, he just signed to a big promoter, had his manager behind him, his first fight back after a layoff. So shake
down the center of opponent's face, you know you got something working for you. Good shot right there from Norman, straight a little low, but a good move from the young fighter.
And I do like how he's getting everything started with the jab, with that lead left hand, establishing that early and using it to set up the right hand, which we do know has some power.
Now you see Norman settling down just a little bit, and you know that because the first round he was tight. Every movement was tight, but he's slipping shots, ducking from shots.
Whereas Perez's style, he just has this herky-jerky rhythm about him. He's always moving if he's not throwing punches.
He is who he is.
Stab jab a little more down to the body there for Perez. Comes around with the hook and gets caught with a counter left from Norman.
Well, Perez got one shot at a time, won't do it.
There's a nice left that got in there for Perez, and a right catching Norman pulling straight back there.
So that's a good sweet sequence right there. Perez led the combination, got hit, but then he finished. Good shot from both fighters. Body shot from Norman, overhand right from Perez.
Good into the round there.
Against top competition because he's only had to be at a certain gear in all of his fights. But when he's forced to pull everything, out of his repertoire and show us what that Kazakh style really is all about, I think we'll get a full display at that point.
I think it's something he himself has been clamoring for quite some time. So we'll see if tonight's performance can entice any of those big names in that division to Junior and Jesus Perez. Good exchange at the end of round 2 there, Dre, but pretty much Norman Jr. in cruise control since the opening bell.
Right, and I agree with his father. After for you to see exactly what a fighter is all about. Good shot right there from Perez. Perez is steady, he's gonna come forward, and when he feels comfortable, he's gonna throw. But Norman more from a skill set standpoint than Perez, and I think he can step things up because if not, he's gonna keep giving Perez confidence, and Perez will take full advantage and keep throwing big shots.
Well, one of the things he told us too when we wanted to emphasize on going to the body and the body attack, something he has not yet quite established yet early.
Right, it's consistency, and that's what needs to between a professional and an amateur, just consistency. Can you take a game plan and be consistent all the way through? You see Norman do it, and then he gets away from it.
And there gets out of distance with the flirt welterweight division. If you want to start to make some noise and start to step up and get some bigger fights, you got to make yourself look levels above guys like this. No disrespect to Jesus Perez, but he has big plans for his future, does Norman.
That's right.
Let's see if we see that transition here as we start round 4. Christina Ponter and Andre Ward with you on the call for the first fight of the night, a double championship world title fights coming up later this evening. Nice defensive prowess. He's been able to show that he's mastered some of that distance, that timing that Perez is using, throwing those kind of wild shots. All that, as I say that, he gets clipped with the left hand.
In the ladder, he'll be facing bigger punchers.
That head grazing with that shot, and the left hand, he has done a good job of varying it. Hasn't really let it go. Hasn't really let it fly the way that we've seen him in the past. Down to the body there, but partially blocked by that elbow of Perez.
Doing the tough work to cut off the ring and track Norman down, so you might as well punch when you get there. Not with one shot like that, but with both hands.
About picking up the pace and stepping on the gas pedal as we turn to the second half of the fight, round 5. Down to the body with the left hand twice there for Butler. Perez answers with a body shot with the left hand.
Given and conceded respect in places with Perez that he just shouldn't have. Well, just because Perez is exactly executed that, and I think some of it is nerves, and I think some of it is confidence. You know, these are big stages. It's not that everybody hasn't filled in the arena yet, but this is a big playing his part. Pressing forward, taking the shots,
like
throwing his own shots, and trying to land as often as he can.
Nice lead left hand once again for Norman, who for a second maybe thought about switching southpaw and then right back to orthodox. More of the right hand that I haven't really seen him sit down and let it go and throw it how we've seen in the past. I know I've said that before, but I'm just kind of surprised at why he's yet to really unleash that.
I think it's both. I think, like we said, the left sets up the right, but I think there's even more work that Norman could be doing with the left hand because he's had success. It's
now and again in these exchanges, Perez gets one, and I mean, Norman gets it right back, but it's just enough to make you think like, okay, I'm going to get back moving around the outside again instead of just trying to stand there maybe a little bit and mix it up. Showing him right now he's just confident with working around the outside.
Yeah, that's called separation. And at this stage, when you're trying to present and represent yourself, good jab right there from Norman to the world, you want separation. You want to see the difference between you and everybody that you fight, and Norman's not doing that at the moment. And Norman has been in, and I know sparring is different than a fight, but he's been in there with elite guys. He sparred the Boots Ennises, he sparred the Terrence Crawford, so, and he
constantly putting on the pressure.
Absolutely.
Drive here in your own car, got to go home after this.
I'm not complaining.
A rare home game for
yes.
you, Andre Ward. All right, penultimate round. This one's scheduled.
I think it's warranted, and I think he's got to answer the call. But in the meantime, Perez is pressing forward, and he's punching.
And
about it, they're watching and processing and studying what does this guy really have. And I'm talking about Norman.
Norman with a nice left hand to the body. Back to the jab, 1-2 hook, and then right back answering is Perez.
And that's part Norman and part Perez.
And it's kind of, I'm curious, I do agree that that explosiveness that we've seen from him in the past, even just as recent as his last fight, just not Jesus Perez, but it looks like they got it under control, and here's the 8th round.
If I'm Perez, I want to close big. I have no idea how the judges are scoring this, and I want to finish this fight strong and try to get a shot through and try to hurt the young fighter.
Nice shot there. Lands as Perez.
Norman dropping his left hand, drifting back, and Perez counters with an overhand right.
It's a nice counter shot. He saw that jab coming, and that jab has been peppering that side of his face all fight long.
Good right hand from Norman, but an answer from Perez didn't land, but he tried.
nice body shot gets in from Norman there, and then there's a counter stick shot from Perez.
Good exchanges from both men.
Butler. Norman Jr. stood in there and fought instead of moving around the outside of the ring. But maybe that blood's bringing that energy.
I think it's the blood and it's the last round. He can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Takes a shot and then gives a shot down to the body.
Perez should go. Let both hands go. He should go right now.
Both fighters getting shots in here. Just under a minute to go now. In this eighth, just start the fight over from right now.
Yeah. Or maybe go two more.
Right,
two
that's
more
it.
rounds.
Why not?
Good shot on the top of the head from Perez with that overhand right.
Jab, and then answer with Norman, that right hand, right under that left elbow. There's the body shot. There's a nice left hand that gets in for Norman.
Best round of the fight for both fighters.
Oh, nice left hand.
Oh, just missed that
Misses with that shot. Goes right back to it. Definitely not a knockdown there as they get their feet tangled up. But that's it. That's the end of the fight. Come on. That was the best round of the fight, and it's got to end. It's got to end like
I'm
that.
telling you, they saw the light.
Oh,
they said we can let it all hang out. This fight.
And he makes his opponents have to think a lot quicker than what,
Come on, hands free, let him go. Stop.
than what they would like to. He does a lot of trickery, like a lot of trick things in there. Moving side to side, very well schooled. He slows down the pace.
Yep.
As you can see, Norman right now having a hard time getting to him. So what did he do? He rushed him.
Norman trying to jab as Randall tries to connect with the same punch, and you see that pressure that Randall puts on Norman puts on Randall, and Randall's just calm, cool, collected.
See, but this is where Norman wants to work. He wants to work in close. He likes mid-range to inside. Nice little stab jab downstairs, changing. And that was an attempt right there to catch Norman on the way in with the right hand.
20.3 more punches than his opponents do, Tim. Just almost impossible to hit.
Defensive master. Defensive master. And it's all done by his feet. I mean, the first line of defense, I've always tell people all the time, like, first line of defense is first for a reason. It's number one.
Hands free.
It's the best way to avoid a shot.
And the fact that he's now standing in front of opponents, he's not, a lot of people say, oh, he's running. That
He knows what he needs to do. He gets right outside that mid-range, and he controls that space in between. And when you attack him, he takes a half a step back, and then he comes back and counter. But most of the time,
in his attempt to become a 3-division champion, taking on Edwin De Los Santos in his first world title attempt. That'll be for the vacant.
right now what you're seeing, what Randall is showing.
Nice body work from Norman with the right, and then follows up with a left hook to the head. Died in a car accident.
Man.
Then he had another baby pass away at birth, so he's had a lot of heartache. And he says, man, if it wasn't for Team USA, the time I spent with Kay Koroma, who's now his trainer as a pro, and that family, he said, I would have committed suicide.
Wow.
Hands free.
Hey, you do, but you from the outside looking in, you need to tell me what you need to do, what I need to do, Pops. Come on, man.
Sometimes it's
Can't make this up, man.
Sometimes it's tough for us to hear, but what we heard there from Brian Norman Sr. was like, you got to figure out. But then he did say, you can either go on the inside, you can work from the outside, but you've got to figure. Yeah,
How do you get to the inside? How do you close the distance? He's having trouble. He's having problems with the angles and the movement of Randall.
Yeah, this whole you figure it out is kind of like, we win and you lose. That's one of those mindsets, right?
As a Randall, and then you look ordinary. They make you look ordinary. It's important, a part of your development, to have different styles to deal with different challenges. And that's
as he tries to find a way in. Nice jab there from Norman.
See, it's with the jab. You jab at the chest, you jab downstairs, you look to time his rushes like that, you use the feints. You move side to side. See, he's coming straight in. You want
the wrinkles that he could use to at least complicate this fight.
Well, right now, it's just the intensity and just working his hands of Norman.
Hands free.
That's getting the best of
Some blood on the nose of Randall.
On the nose.
Nice 1-2 combination from Brian Norman. Very good body work with the right.
Stop, 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 stop. That's an open glove. Here we go. Don't hold him, don't hold him. Hands free. Stop, 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 stop.
See, it's funny because Norman's getting actually in the inside, but he's not actually working his hands. He's actually smothering himself instead of giving himself a little space to be able to work his offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chess match right now. Nice right uppercut as Randall was holding and punching, but referee Tony Weeks caught him on that.
But it's really not. I mean, these rounds now easily. Norman is just with his activity alone. No, he's not landing anything crazy and powerful, but he's just a more active fighter right now.
Nice uppercut from Randall.
That was a nasty uppercut right there. Good hook.
Ooh.
Hands free. Stop, stop.
Here are your updated live odds for Norman against Randall. -700 for Norman Jr. And we remind you, you can go to ESPN Bet, the app that launched this week. We invite you to download the app, and you can bet not only on this fight, Manuel Navarrete against Robson Conceição for the junior lightweight title, as well as the vacant WBC lightweight belt, which will be at stake when Shakur Stevenson takes on Edwin De Los Santos. ESPN Bet, we invite you to join the family.
Stop, stop.
Norman told us in the fighter meetings that we was going to see the best Norman. I've yet to see that.
Yeah, this is probably his most confounding fight because he's had trouble getting inside on Quinton Randall, and all the stuff that worked against lesser opposition, Tim, is not working tonight, and he's got to find the combination to this lock.
Well, he's smothering himself.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's smothering himself. He struggles with distance.
His corner, Derek Collinsworth, saying, look, I don't want to yell instructions. I don't want people to know what I want you to do, but you got to do something.
Stop, stop. Let him up.
Norman not coming in behind the jab at all. And Randall not throwing enough punches.
Stop, stop.
Good body shot.
Moving up to 140 momentarily. Then you have Shakur at number 8, and then Gervonta Tank Davis. The best thing would be if they would fight each other, then there would be no discussion, but that seems like a pipe dream at this point.
Wow, nice
body shot.
Oh,
Randall.
my gosh.
Stop, stop, stop. Let him up.
Nice fake with the left and then stab right down to the body.
Nice jab there from Randall. Very correct.
But I just thought that he would know a little bit more than what I'm seeing right now. Like, he looks like a regular guy to me.
Yeah.
Like a regular guy.
Right and left, and that combination really opened the spigot on the nose of Quinton Randall. The blood had been emanating from his nose, and I think, is there a cut now, or is that
It's
from
a cut.
Or is that from the nose? Conceição, and that is a cut over the right eye of Brian Norman Jr. So they're both bleeding here in round number 6. More cars are starting to set up for the first round of practice. You see the cars inside the paddock. The Ferrari there on the right, the Red Bull of Max Verstappen on the left. They will be first out, a.m. Eastern, 12 midnight here on the West Coast. All in preparation for Saturday's Las Vegas Grand Prix. You saw the ESPN Bet live odds, -2,000 in favor of Brian Norman Jr., +1,000 for Quinton Randall. Even money that the fans are booing.
Yeah.
We invite you to join the ESPN Bet family. Nice left hook
right
there
there
from Brian Norman. He woke up.
Good shot, right on the heart.
Stop, stop, stop.
Oh, nice uppercut.
Body shot, too.
Stop. I got you.
Falling in after his combinations. Doesn't know how to fight at mid-range or inside. Smothering his work. Doesn't fight that well off the back foot. I mean, there's a lot of things that he can go back to the gym and work on.